Hello and welcome to Pause for Payments with Kristy. I'm Kristy Duncan and it's my tremendous pleasure to have a discussion today with Seema Khinda Johnson, who's co-founder and COO of Nuggets in the UK. Nuggets is an amazing blockchain payments and ID platform that's redefining online security and privacy. And we're going to get Seema to tell us a little more about it today. So welcome, Seema.
Thank you for having me, Kristy. It's good to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Seema, today's topic is careers in fintech, cool or crazy? And you've done a little bit of, fintech entrepreneurship, as well as had a career in some large organizations. Can you tell us a little bit about your career as a fintech entrepreneur?
Absolutely. So look, my career started incredibly organically. It didn't start in tech. I used to work for an ad agency, an advertising agency in London. I know, right? Managing creative teams, technical teams to deliver projects on time and on budget. So almost had the skills of like a program manager, project manager. As I progressed that career, started managing bigger teams, bigger budgets, bigger clients. And then after maybe 15, 16 years of working agency side, I started to work for organizations like Skype and Microsoft, leading all of their go-to-market and commercialization globally whenever they launched a product. And it was really during that time when I was, going through that and working for a corporate, I started to think I'd love to be doing something myself. And at the same time, around 2014, my husband had his credit card used fraudulently online, took 2 weeks for the card to come back, didn't know where the data had been compromised. And really, we thought this is the challenge that we should try to solve, crazily. So we thought, let's do it. So let's try to sort out data security within payments. And really, that's when I set up Nuggets in 2016.
Holy moly, what a great story. So you saw an opportunity and you just decided to go for it. That's fantastic. Seema, you've had a fascinating career, and if you had a chance to roll it back to the very beginning, tell me, what would you do differently? Are there forks in the road you might have taken differently, or what other alternatives or things might you have explored?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I've asked myself that one many times. I think there's a number of things. I had wished that I would have started a business a bit earlier, rather than leaving it until I've got young children, lots and lots of expenses like we all have, because things are just a bit easier. I think I underestimated the sacrifices that you make on a time basis, but also just the sort of resilience and the energy you need when you set up a business. So yeah, definitely wish I'd tried it a bit sooner. But then part of me then thinks maybe I hadn't learned enough, and all of those things. But I also think there's been a few key things that are universal for me now that I wish, that I had known a bit sooner. Number one, I think, don't spend time convincing someone that doesn't share your vision. And I think I spent a lot of time, probably years, trying to convince the person on the other side of the table, of my purpose or the purpose or, the problem we were solving. So I definitely think, don't waste time doing that, Seema. Try to use that time and spend that finding people that do share your vision. I've also realised over this time, and things that I probably would have done differently, is use less energy when I got the no's. So I definitely bounce back quicker now, just because I've realised, just there's normally a reason why something didn't go the way I had planned. It's not quite clear at that point, but it becomes a lot clearer. So definitely now I wish that I'd rolled with the punches a bit, sooner. And I think there's other things as well. I think when you're younger, you think, I definitely didn't listen enough. I wish I'd listened more and never assumed. And those things, I think, are the real three things that I'm glad now that I'm doing differently. So I hope that goes some way to answering that question.
Yeah, no, no, that's great. So I love the idea of going out on your own, becoming entrepreneurial earlier in your career and actually believing in yourself, because that's something that often women don't do as well perhaps as men, is really believing in yourself and going for those opportunities. So, Seema, are there any forks in the road that you might have taken differently or at different times in your career? I mean, might you have considered leaving some of your large corporation jobs earlier or doing different corporations to build on your career to get you where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So, and I've asked myself that a number of times. I think the thing is, part of me thinks, yes, I wish I had done things earlier because, I had definitely underestimated the level of energy you need, resilience, resource, financial resource you need. And of course, I decided to do it when I have two small children, I have a house, I have fees, and all those other things that comes with, getting that bit older. But then the other part of me thinks that had I set up Nuggets sooner, then maybe all the other things hadn't lined up. Maybe privacy wasn't at a tipping point. Maybe people weren't ready to go wholesale at online identity and online payments. And I think you've got to be really lucky when you set up a startup. It's almost part of it is raising the money. Part of it is, that you've got to have had the idea, but there has to be an established market as well. And I feel had I even done it a few years earlier, there may not have been an unmet need. So, and there's other things that I've learned along the way that have really informed, things like I wish I'd spent less time convincing people of my vision and of Nuggets rather than spending the time finding out and seeking out people that do share the vision. And I think when a few years ago, I definitely spent a lot of time doing that. I also think that there's always a reason for the no. So I probably wouldn't have spent a lot of time, feeling sad or feeling like we'd missed out on an opportunity. Definitely you bounce back quicker because you just realize there's a reason for, it's paving the way really for you to, for where you should be.
Oh, fabulous. So those are great insights, Seema. It sounds like your career just kind of converged at the right time with the right skills, and the ones that you were still learning, you were able to learn on the job, so to speak. Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Looking to the future, you've got this amazing concept that you've been building out with Nuggets, and you competed in our Unicorn Challenge, and we're so excited to have connected. Um, with Nuggets and with fintech in general, do you see opportunities opening up as a result of this pandemic situation?
I mean, absolutely right. I mean, it's incredibly sad where we are and all of our lives, and billions of people's lives have been, become almost so impacted by, where we find ourselves. But I also think due to the pandemic, everything's moving more and more online. Things that we had never thought about consuming, whether it's community support services, all of our groceries online, online education, healthcare, medical screening. These were things that we would think that it would take years for some level of adoption to speak to your doctor, even have a medical screening online. So I think all of us now are depending on all of these services moving online. And I think the real opportunity here is that innovations that would have taken 3 to 5 years to establish a market and some form of market fit are now taking months, quarters. So it's all, I think, this is going to force an acceleration of consuming things online, consuming goods and services online. And I think on the Nugget side, because all of this is moving online, there is never a better, it means that there's a massive privacy and security challenge ahead of us, with all of these new innovations online. So there was already a problem with 50% of it online, and now imagine now with 80-90% of everything we do online. So no, I definitely think there's a phenomenal opportunity for us, to ensure that ID with payments merged together, that's private and secure, there's even more of a need.
Wow, so interesting. Um, Seema, you've worked for many big firms like Microsoft and Skype, and now a small fintech, and you've got such an amazing um, mosaic of experiences in your career. Can you tell us what advice might you have for others who are considering a career in fintech?
So I think absolutely, interact with as many people as possible. I mean, that's what I've done. And even in this new world, everything's moving online like us, today. So I definitely think join the online workshops, join the online events. It really is essential to building a successful career, that you have a network that you can draw on. So I definitely think that. And I think, especially as women in this space, right, you need to surround yourself with almost like a network that can help you, whether it is fundraising support, whether it is, a skill set that you lack, or you need to recruit your team or find out about opportunities. And I really think you can't force that, but you can definitely join up and, meet like-minded individuals within those networks. I think that's absolutely essential, whether you're looking for a new corporate role or you're thinking about going out there alone. You definitely can't do it alone. So for me, I think there's that. I think the other thing is, if you're thinking about a fintech or any startup, going into it with your eyes open. When I first started Nuggets, I thought I could I'll just do my commercial part of my role or the operational part of my role. What I have realized, you need to almost be like a Swiss Army knife. You need to be able to look at the accounts, look at the legals, look at an employment contract, pick up the phone to a supplier, you've got to do everything essentially. And I think really go into it with your eyes open. But they would be my two bits of advice: network and be open to learning and, picking up new skills.
Wow, those are great pieces of advice, Seema. That's amazing. Thank you. I love the insights. One last question. Well, two, but if you had to choose, what part of your career would you say is your favorite, or can you choose?
I can, I feel really lucky and fortunate, even with all of this going on. I'm absolutely doing something I love, which is, leading Nuggets, because it has a real purpose. And for me, that's been a definite shift. I feel that what we're doing with data security really is a purpose, and I've got my why. So I wouldn't change any, that's it. I'm doing what I want to be doing. But I don't regret any of the other parts of it, because I almost feel, by having the role at Skype or working for a large corporate, where there was politics and everything, I feel really fortunate and lucky to be doing something I love.
Wow, that's fabulous. Tell me, how did you get the skills to be a COO? Like, you're in data security, and that's highly technical, and
Yeah.
how do you do that?
Oh gosh, that's going to be tough. Yeah. So again, really organically, like if we'd have had this chat 3.5 years ago, there'd be someone very different sitting here today. I think it's taken a lot. I've had to learn on the job, because part of it does prepare you, that you're able to be professional, you understand a corporate structure, you understand how to deliver things, you understand budgets and all of that. But I don't think anything quite prepares you. I don't think you can go and do a business degree and then prepared to, set up your own startup. It's almost like every lesson I've learned, every wrong turn I've learned has set me up, whether it is, and it's a real curiosity. My first month setting up Nuggets, I'm not the person that I am today. I can now read a technical paper. I have no technical training. I'm not a coder, but I can understand blockchain. I understand encryption levels. But I think it's become it's been an organic process, and you can't almost force it. And part of all that learning and all those mistakes has set me up to be the person that I am today. I'm sure I'll look back in year 3, 4 and think, oh gosh, I've still got so much, so much further to go. But I didn't read a manual, Kristy. It's happened really organically, and it's happened out of necessity.
Wow, that's fabulous. It's like this whole amazing story of lifelong learning that you continue to upskill and embrace new opportunities so you can learn from them. I'm really inspired by your story, Seema. Thank you for sharing that. So if I could, so just to
No,
recap,
thank you for having me.
oh, it's been a really great, insightful discussion. So just to close out, what I think I'm hearing from you is advice to believe in yourself and to build your network so that you have other people that you can go to for advice and input and support. The lifelong learning is a great message. And, you know, as you continue to build out your business now, you're continuing to learn, technically and how to wear many hats when running a small business, growing business. I like the idea of listening more. That's a really interesting one. And can you tell me just a little bit more to close this discussion? What do you mean by listening more?
I mean, a number of things. I think some of us, a lot of this taught by parents, whether you're, but I definitely think there's in our culture, just in business, you've seen people get rewarded for coming up with the answer the quickest, whether it's the right answer or the right response. And I think there's something to be said now for taking a pause, thing, and not assuming and trying to be the force that is the calm force. And I think really that's made when you have all of the data, you can look at it and reflect on it and be calm without jumping to conclusions. Or I think most of our best decisions are made when we listen and are calm. So I don't know, for me, that's been a learning because, I'm quite an energetic, optimistic type person. I want to come up with the answer the quickest. I like to speak. So it's definitely been a learning for me to just take a pause and listen.
Wow, those are great insights. Thank you, Seema, for sharing your career story today and your inspiration for getting into entrepreneurship. I'm really excited to have you participate in our Unicorn Challenge this month in London, and wish you luck with that. And thank you for sharing your insights today.